the truck drivers and the baddies on Instagram. From Compton to Birmingham, New York to Amsterdam, everyone is tapped in with Hood in the Morning. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic, your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer, your favorite mystic's favorite mystic. Time to tap in now. You are traveling with the Hood Mystic.
You are now tapped in.
Making love to you. Why you giving me the goods, then leave for good? I need you, shit. I don't wanna think about not making love to you. Why you giving me the goods, then leave for good? I need you, shit. I don't wanna lock you down. I want you around. Love it when you make that sound. Every time you come around, I don't wanna cage you. I just wanna save you. I don't wanna leave the house. I'm down and out without you. Tell me when you coming out, cause I'll get dressed up for you. I don't wanna play you. I just wanna make you come closer to me, girl. Peace to the family. We are here. Hope y'all happy to be here, just as happy as I'm here. Happy to be here. I am the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com, man. And yeah, Retrograde Realness. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about Venus, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, okay? And before we get into that, just want to alert people of what is going on. What is going on? Well, family, we are doing it. Our first class is starting, the Alchemic Academic. That is the monthly. I was going to do a whole bunch of rigmarole and fancy schmancy stuff, and then I'm like, nah, we're just gonna do it basic. So we're just gonna hold monthly courses, monthly classes, strictly tied into DNA activation. And if you don't understand how astrology and tarot lead into DNA activation, or you don't understand how important DNA activation is in these days and times, well, family, I'm not going to do it all on YouTube. I'm going to hope and pray that you guys hit the links in the description, book a class, start now, because 2 months, 3 months in, things might get a little different. Prices might get a little high. So I'm saying get in now. Lock in this price, May 23rd, it goes down. So that is this Saturday. You are getting tapped into a whole different level of activation, a whole nother level of consciousness. And I'm not saying it to brag or to simply motivate you to do something that you don't want to do. However, if you're tired of being sick and tired and you want to know how to get things popping, you want to deal with source. You don't want to deal with no flim, no flam. You want to get straight to get to alchemicacademic.com. Book the class and, take this journey with me, man. It's about to be big. What else? Shout out to Spirit Doula for opening my heart, opening up my mind, opening up my eyes to what it is to actually be, who I be. And so because of this, a lot of changes are going to be taking place. None for the bad. However, the idea with this channel, I'm taking the training wheels off, so to speak. I put out a lot of content in these past 3 years, and at this particular point, a lot of this information you can refer, or you can simply begin to do the work yourself. And I have work to do myself, to which certain things for which aren't going to net me positive results, I'm going to step away from. and the things that are going to bring me positive results, I'm going to move toward. So I invite everybody and anybody to join us all on the Slack. You see the chat. Most of the people that comment in the chat are a part of the Slack. And basic conversation, spiritual conversation. A lot of those conversations don't have nothing, absolutely nothing, zero, zilch, nada to do with me. But there is a lot of conversations and a lot of things taking place. So utilize the link in the description. Join the Slack. Beyond that, all of the links are in the description. We're doing another coins and currents video. We are meeting every day. Ancho's meeting every day at 7 p.m. to talk trades, to talk money, to talk all types of things, helping you get into this trading thing, helping you understand what's happening for yourself. And it's just a community, man. We're not promising nothing, We're not saying if you join coins and currents, you're going to make millions of dollars. We're not saying that. All that we're saying is that you have an opportunity to learn in a safe environment and get real live tips. We made real live money last week, and this week we're going to continue to do the same. So coins and currents, the link is in the description. So now that the business is out the way, hope everybody is here. And a lot of things like doing business and things of that nature, I feel sometimes uncomfortable about that. However, I feel spiritually led to say these things. And although I know that things that I say and the things that I promote are not for everybody, they are for some people. So I'm just doing my due diligence to put it out there. So let's get into this build. Of course, we will be tapping in a little later. And I just want to talk about these retrogrades because everybody talking about them. I don't know what they talking about. But, let's try to make sense out of it, because when I talk about astrology, it's more or less of what I'm going through and what I'm experiencing. That's the only way that I could particularly process astrology. And with that, I usually find a lot of consensus. A lot of people agree and a lot of people understand this perspective. So with that being said, I will continue to do the same. But the first thing that I'm going to talk about is Venus going retrograde in sidereal Taurus. In Western astrology, they have Venus slated to go in Western Gemini. However, when you look at the actual map and the actual placement of Venus using astronomical, scientific, mathematical equations, it comes up to being in Taurus. So for that instance, I'm going to break down, or at least try to understand, Venus going into retrograde in sidereal Taurus. And for me, this represents making something out of nothing. The something being Taurus, representing that earth energy, and the nothing representing Venus, representing our pure awareness. And this energy being a retrograde, the something that we can create can either be good or bad based upon our particular vibration, based upon our particular imagination. Because when we view ourselves and when we look at ourselves, whether good or bad, it is purely imagination. So the idea with this Venus retrograde, because it's in Earth sign, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter are in Earth signs. This energy going retrograde, meaning that if energy is in Earth signs, then you are dealing with the actual reality of it. When it goes retrograde, you are dealing with the mental aspect inside of the Earth energy. So basically, what did you think to create the world that you're living in now? And now that these energies are going retrograde, now how can you retrace those thoughts or probably do some things differently based upon the hard spiritual truths that Venus squared to Neptune is presenting while it goes retrograde? Okay, there are some hard spiritual truths that have presented themselves. And because of this is making you feel a certain type of way beyond the conscious mind. So many times we can get into a process of consciously thinking that everything is either good or bad without factoring the fact that I'm just imagining my whole reality. I'm programming my whole reality and I don't even realize it. So what I'm doing with my classes, and hopefully what I do with these YouTube videos, is take the power back into your hands to start creating your reality, whether people like it or not. Okay? Because we live in a whole world. You have millions of people, possibly billions of people, that are peering into TV and electronic devices and taking cues on how to live. And all of these people, they don't even realize that nature and the celestial movements have more sway over what they're hearing. And no matter how technical, no matter how scientifical, no matter how impressive a person sounds, you, being a spiritual entity, have full dominion over your life. Okay? And because you know that these hard spiritual truths are presenting themselves, we are dealing with the retrograde, meaning that this is a phase. And this phase is not a short phase, but it is a phase nonetheless. So the advice is not to jump out the window with emotional proclivities or shame or mistakes that a person might look at their physical surroundings and things of that nature. The idea is to begin to understand how this phase will end based upon imagination. So, do you imagine this energy ending positively, or is your fear taking over? Okay, because these are real things when you're dealing with particular retrogrades, and that is why I'm speaking to it. Because the control for which we live our lives is based on truth, and that truth is not based upon anything existential. What do I mean? Who you are, your name, your birth, your gender, your beauty, your intelligence, your emotional intelligence, your capacity to have a lot of resources, money, all of these things that we strive for as human beings have nothing to do with how we actually control our lives. We control our lives from a DNA perspective. However, when we're referencing particular paradigms, we section these paradigms off. But we need to understand that DNA does not work that way. Life does not work that way. Life works upon binary code. Life works upon right brain and left brain. Okay? There's always a negative and positive integer. So when we begin to look at these particular paradigms and knowing how to activate our actual energy, the point of this whole conversation is to establish a spiritual life or establish a physical life with no effort at all. Zero effort. You shouldn't be trying or working or trying to do shit. But send signals. Okay? DNA does not move outside of the nucleus. It stays seated within the nucleus. It sends signals based on language, based on codes. And this is how we become who we are today, based upon the signals that we have sent ourselves. But do you know the signals, and do you know how to actually do this shit? So basically, where I've been these past weeks is in different dimensions, pulling different energies, coming with different ways to understand how to communicate this new science. And this new science does not come from me. It does not come from anybody. It comes from you. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to teach you about you. I'm tired of you asking me about what books to read. I'm tired of you asking me about what aesthetics to do. But then when I start talking about your internal dialogue and how to activate it, it's one ear and out the other. So with that being said, I'm no longer going to waste my breath. I'm just going to continue moving forward. And those who have ears, let them hear. And, beyond that is just that. So a lot of people call it spirit. A lot of people call it soul. A lot of people call it spiritual development, the occult, spirituality, so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? But what are they trying to do, and what are they trying to accomplish? Are they trying to lather on the most cocoa butter and wear the most expensive, elaborate crystals wrapped in copper, walking around like a Naga serpent goddess? Is that the actual purpose of this spiritual journey? Or is it something much more abstract? And if it sounds like I'm talking French or I'm talking Spanish, this is why I'm doing the courses. This is why I'm developing this language to which these conversations will sound a little bit more crazier and crazier. Okay? Deeper and deeper and deeper, because I'm not dealing with nothing existential. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your gender. I don't even care about the bad shit that happened to you in the past. From the extreme things to the mild things, I do not care. I'm dealing with the root concept, the spermatozoa, the actual individual DNA strand cell that is sending out codes and is the blueprint for your life. I want you to access that, and then from there, I want you to begin to navigate this matrix from an internal perspective, knowing that you are awareness. From your awareness, you have created your whole entire life. Now it's time to simply get that back. And maybe other people are referencing it and speaking to it, and I'm just one of many, but this is what I'm on for sure. So Venus being in the actual energy of Taurus is squared the energy of Neptune. And this is presenting a hard spiritual truth in the realms of past life love, okay? So this is for the people who are in relationships. You in relationship with somebody you met in this lifetime, but you have other loves and other lifetimes that need to be reconciled. Those contracts need to be honored or canceled. So this is that ex-boyfriend or that ex-girlfriend that you let go away. This is also that new person that you just met that knocked your socks off. Okay? And you wondering, what is that? What am I feeling? You are feeling a past life connection. You two know each other. Y'all could get together right now and be thick as thieves. Act like y'all known each other your whole lives. But are you going to do anything about it? Probably not. So this is why it's a square, because you already got a relationship. You already live across country. Y'all not in the same proximity. And this is not going to be an easy thing to process. Because it's deeper. It's deeper than the relationship that you in presently. This is what, it's a spiritual truth. This is hard spiritual truths. And it don't have to be something past lifetime. It could be something in this recent lifetime. That one that you let get away. And now you really thinking about it. Because now you really alone. Or now you really with somebody that you really don't want to be with. And now you sitting and contemplating because the truth, the spiritual truth, was unknown to you. So this is why you got to give yourself some slack and you got to give yourself some credit. Because you wouldn't have known this person and this energy, it just wasn't a point in time where you was even able to recognize it. Hopefully you recognize it and you figure out a way to move towards it safely without causing anybody any harm. But these are hard spiritual truths and there are many of them. However, the closer you get to them, the easier that this square will reconcile. Karma is seeing a spiritual truth and doing nothing about it because your physical rational truth, your logical truth makes more sense to you. However, I know what it's like to be logical, to have toothaches, headaches, migraines, insomnia, oversex, drugs, this, that, and like just unhappy because the logical side of life isn't stacking up right. See, me personally, I'm not even going towards logic. I can see it for what it is. Oh, this is a past life lover that I've come back into contact with, and now I gotta just sit and contemplate it. When I said don't jump out the window, I'm not about to go out here and profess my love, because we dealing with the first energies of a retrograde. It's like actually knowing that you plant a seed and be like, okay, this is going to be a tree. I know it's going to be a tree, so I might as well just pull it out of the earth right now. So you just ruining it, because like I said, we dealing with earth energy. Okay. Any research on earth energy will be pertinent. And when we reference these retrogrades, we talking about energies that's going to last, not short term, November, October. Okay. And always pay attention to where this Pluto, Saturn, and Capricorn energy is at in your house. Because if you figure out where it's at in your house, then you know where the changes are happening. See, these changes are happening in my third house, my communication house, my Gemini house. Everything that I'm experiencing is like past. I've already experienced it, and everything, it was like a setup, but I did not see the setup, because the third house is my mental house, and I'm a very mental person, and I do a lot of things. Case in point, just imagine me and my wife just pulling up in the neighborhood in New Orleans, not knowing nobody for nothing. We could be straight up going into a goddamn sex trafficking house, kidnapped, never to be seen again. We get out the car like ain't nothing. We in New Orleans, mind you, getting a spiritual reading and a spiritual clearing by a Santero. Why would we even think to do that? What was on our mind? Why did we just travel all of these places with no particular reason? We just going places, like for nothing. Okay? Times 100. So now the air is now making sense as these energies materialize. Now I realize what the Santero said to me, the Polero said to me. He said, man, you got a lot of spiritual energy. I didn't understand that at the time, family. He said, you got a lot of spiritual energy. And I'm looking at him kind of confused. I got a lot of spiritual energy. Yeah, that sounds good, but what does that mean? It's confusing when I got a lot of spiritual energy and I'm trying to manifest my life materially. Versus once I was doing spiritual things, but I didn't never really realize it because I was so conditioned to take care of the family and be material minded. However, the existential, little subtle spiritual things that I've done, they're now making sense. And so I realized that he was right. I do have a lot of spiritual energy. And I'm just going to claim that, you know? I see a lot of stuff online. A lot of people that's like millionaires. And like really out here scamming people and doing everything that they must do to scam a person. And me, it'll be like a class or something to that effect. It'll be somebody online that's doing a class that's going to scam somebody. So I was like, well, damn, am I a scammer? So I was going to do a yearly plan. I was going to do a monthly plan. I was going to do all of this particular stuff. And then I was like, well, damn, that's the same thing that the scammers do. I'm going to just continue to work with my numbers, 23, and just be practical and not greedy, and stay with what I'm doing and not even focus on being rich or doing anything that is focused on clout or analytics or data or how many people is, all of that is thrown out the window. All I'm focused on is changing my world for the better. So with Pluto sat, and this is my communication now. This is my understanding. So we've all had past, whether we talking about past lives or past decisions that we made in this particular life. Are you strong enough? Are you bold enough to say that everything I've done, I've never made a mistake? Everything that I've done was perfect, and I just didn't understand how it was perfect, but it was perfect. Maybe it was alchemical. Maybe it was for something to manifest later. Maybe I was just planting a seed. You know, these particular things for which is the perfection of my life and the manifestation of my spiritual energy, because I was never conscious. I could never be smarter than my spiritual energy. And I hope that makes sense. And I hope you understand that. I was never smarter than my spiritual energy. I was always under it. Only I thought that I was by being materialistic and being sad and being hurt. I thought that my spiritual energy was a floozy patoozy. But as I'm dealing with these particular retrogrades, I'm realizing that my actual mental is what's fucking me up, what's holding me back. The things that I think about. Because the things that I think about are incomparable to my spiritual energy. So as we progress and we're dealing with Earth energy of Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn, understand that the cement is already mixed and poured. So now it is time to mold it into the life for which you want to live. And that might seem difficult, that might seem easy, but it's beyond easy. There is not a word. All you have to do is begin to send out the codes telepathically, internally, and directly without waver. There is no subversion, there is no interruption when it comes to talking to yourselves, talking to your DNA. And I want to let people know what has happened over this past 5 months is not set in stone. Absolutely nothing is set in stone. This world is completely malleable and changeable. We have entered into a different dimensional sphere. And while everybody is rushing back to normalcy and the way things were, some of us will never go back to that place. Some of us are moving on to our journeys. Some of us are raising up our spiritual energy. Some of us are taking control of our lives, and we will no longer be controlled by the media or propaganda. We are spiritual beings having a human existence. We are descendants of Atlanteans, so forth and so on. And because of that, because I'm a reincarnated soul, I have dominion and I have sovereignty. Nobody can do anything to me unless I allow it. So these are the messages for which I've been dealing with all week. I want everybody to understand that the mistakes that you thought you made, those weren't mistakes. Those were actually what you needed to propel yourself. So in these particular moments, are you dealing with regret, shame, or discomfort? Don't feel bad because of that. Actually be encouraged, because these are the sure sign indications that magic is happening. Capricorn deals with the devil. The devil deals with black energy or black magic. And black magic is simply the magic of doing things our own way. So, because of that, we have forgotten the magic of masculine and feminine energy, sacred geometry, and so forth and so on. So, I just want to let people know that something magical is happening. And this magic is happening because you get to control it. However, if you just sitting back passive and not understanding nothing about metaphysics or occult technology and spirituality development and developing real aesthetics, as opposed to worrying why things ain't happening the way you want them to happen, then that's what's going to hold you back. I really thank you guys for like paying attention and tuning in, because you could have been anywhere, could have been doing anything, and you chose to sit here and chop it up with me. So, that is greatly appreciated. And I will be back to talk more consciousness with y'all when I get the time to, I guess. But beyond that, I guess it's time to tap in. So allow me to get things set up and put those links in the chat. And let's have some good conversations. We haven't chopped it up in a while. And I want to just know where everybody's at. So ask questions, engage, and just give me a moment. Peace. Family, Zoom is acting really, really weird. So because of that, I'm going to just cut this energy short. Be sure to email me, hoodmystic@gmail.com, if you need to chop it up. www.hoodmystic.com is the website. www.alchemicacademic if you want to join this new class where we'll be talking about DNA activation through astrology and tarot. We doing the minor, we doing the major, and then in June we'll be doing the minor, family. So let's get it. And I'll get you guys on the flip side. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace, love, and light, and all of that. Peace, peace, peace.